Mark, it is so huge what you did to take your recognizable face and your name, and this beloved following that you had for years through Royal Pain, and be brave enough to go out there and wear such Jewishness with pride and be that hero that we never get. Good morning and welcome to Jew in the City Speaks with your host, Allison Josephs, also known as Jew in the City. We don't have that much good news these days because every day someone is against the Jewish people, including Elmo. That's the latest news. Elmo now wants to kill the Jews. That was posted on Twitter this week. But I saw a movie that I am so excited to tell you about, and I have the star here with me. He was the star of a USA Network show called Royal Pains. My husband and I loved these shows back in the day. In fact, this show actually motivated my husband and me to go to the Hamptons to see all the cool things that were in the show. And then we discovered everything was behind high hedges and no one had invited us to any parties. But the star of the show is a guy named Mark Feuerstein, and he is the star of this movie coming out on July 18th called Guns and Moses. And it really turns Jewish representation, Jewish storytelling on its head. And I am so delighted to have Mark here with me today. Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Allison, thank you so much for having me. We go back, you and I. Our Jewish geography is strong.
Yes.
Husband works with my brother, and you and I have already had some great interactions in the new era since October 7th, where Jews come together to be together, to experience Jewish joy, and to combat the ills that we're facing in these days.
And I just want to call you out for being one of the few actors out there standing up for the Jews, speaking proudly. Unfortunately, it's not a very long list. And I just have to, call attention to the fact that you've been out there the entire time, and we're really grateful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
So this movie, Guns and Moses, written by Salvador and Nina Litvak, directed by Salvador. I didn't know what to expect. It's you've got a great cast. You've got Christopher Lloyd in there from Back to the Future. There were other faces in the movie that I've definitely seen on television before that may have less name recognition. And I can tell you, having studied the issues of what's wrong with Jewish representation, this movie got so many things right. But I want to kind of jump into it. Like, when did you hear about this? What made you decide that you wanted to be a Chabad rabbi in this film?
I mean, don't we all want to be a Chabad rabbi? Don't you want to just be a shliach in the middle of Ghana trying to find Jews?
Totally.
So it was through the conventional channels. I got a script from my representatives, from my manager, and she said, read it this weekend. Let's talk on Monday. And when you get an indie film, you don't expect much. Either the part is thin or the movie is not great. And I sat there reading this movie. Of course, it was an instant connection because it's about a Jewish community. But this character of Rabbi Mo, I just keep reading, and he's, charming and funny, dramatic, and then he's suddenly an action star. And the movie is great. It feels like Chinatown meets The Chosen. And I get to the end, and I'm like, wait, the other shoe didn't drop. This script is great. And I get to be the star of this fabulous story that's not only good drama, but also good for the Jews. I talked to my manager. She's like, yeah, it's pretty great. And then I'm having lunch a few days later with Sal and Nina Litvak in their sukkah in Hancock Park here in LA, about a mile from where I live. And we're talking about the movie and the fact that I'll be starring in it. And within 6 to 8 months, we're filming in Santa Clarita. And it was really like a kind of roll up your sleeves, run and gun, low budget indie experience. I mean, they had some money, enough money to pay people and do it like in the right way, and have places, trailers, and places for people to go. But make no mistake, this was done on a shoestring budget. And Sal did such a great job of corralling a great cast: Dermot Mulrooney, Neil McDonough, Alona Tal, who's from the homeland, and I got a couple of buddies from Royal Pains in.
I
We have,
noticed your brother was there.
yep, Paulo Costanzo played, I think it's
Sid. Sid
Sid,
Borowski.
Sid
Borowski.
Borowski.
He
Thank you.
plays the Jew very well. It's
Yeah,
definitely
he
yes.
was great. He was kind of eerie and very, different for him. And my buddy Mike Silver, who played Killer Keller in Royal Pains, also came in and played the brother of Dermot Mulrooney. So it's a great cast and a great movie, and I'm really excited that it's coming out. And I can't believe the press campaign that Sal and his backers have put up. I mean, my friends are sending me posters from Boston. It's in 9 cities. I've got 4 billboards, mostly in the Pico Robertson area, but hey, we'll take it. But also like in Laurel Canyon, it's really impressive.
It's really impressive. And when I said I wasn't sure what I was going to get going into it, exactly because I suspected this is indie, this is low budget, and it really didn't feel that way. There are so many high budget films now where the writing sucks and the acting sucks. And you're like, why is this making so much noise and getting so much attention? And here was something that I had a feeling there's not big backing behind this, and yet the storytelling was great. So I want to just start with you without giving so many spoilers. First of all, and the thing that irks me is that even when the writing is less bad around religious Jewish characters, oftentimes the rabbi talks like this. So I just want to thank you for just talking like a regular person.
Thank
And it because so many Orthodox and Chabad rabbis speak American English. That's not to say that there are no Hasidic Jews out there that have an accent, but that's not the majority of it. And when that's basically kind of what we see rabbis do, it there creates a separation, and your character is so relatable. He is so charming. And we just did a study. I don't know if you saw, we did a study with the Norman Lear Center at
Yes, I did
USC.
see.
So the most important part of the study was the part I couldn't lead with. The most important part of the study was the utter dehumanization and othering of Orthodox Jews. I knew that couldn't be the lead of our press release because I figured nobody's going to care. Although Israelis are even worse now, Zionists are worse on the totem pole than Orthodox Jews, but we led with lack of Jewish people are hiding their Jewish identity in most television shows. And when they have Jewish identity, it's not with pride. So this was a film where not only were the characters relatable, you saw the husband and wife loving each other. You saw them being loving parents to their children. You saw a joy in Judaism, a joy in tradition. I was at Sundance a couple of years ago talking to some people at a Shabbat program, and they couldn't get it into their brain how there could be a Jewish movie that wasn't about having an issue with Judaism. And I'm like, what if it's just Jews and they have another issue, and it just happens to be Jews in the film or the show, but they have an issue that's not Judaism. And so this film also really captured that. One thing that I'm curious about, was there any, I guess, I'm going to say discomfort, because you're a very proud Jew, but you're very Jewish looking in this film. Was there any thoughts about sort of the beard, the hat, the capote? That's Hollywood Jews never walk around like that. I even know modern Orthodox Jews that don't wear their yarmulkes in professional spaces. Were there any sort of thoughts about wow, I'm putting myself out here in a really Jewish way?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that is an issue that many of my colleagues in our industry have had a much greater concern about. I generally feel A, proud, B, what secret am I outing? I mean, I'm so clearly Jewish. Mark Feuerstein, when an agent told me to change my name, I quoted Iago back to him. Good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of the soul. He who steals my purse steals something, nothing. 'Twas mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he who robs me of my good name steals that which not enriches him and makes me poor indeed. I am proud of my family, my heritage, my ancestry, all of it. And while, yes, it's a very specifically Jewish character, I mean, as Jewish as it gets, for sure, the most Jewish role I've ever played. It's a great role. I mean, he's a great character. He's a a man who stands for his community, and when no one else is there and everyone else is looking for the easiest suspect in the crime, he will stop at nothing to find the truth.
Hmm.
And that's a great character to play. He's
Hmm.
a role model. He's a great father. He's a great husband. He's a leader of the community, and a reluctant hero, which
Hmm.
I always love in movies, whether it's a
Hmm.
western or this, which is kind of a western. Sure, seeing my billboard up there with the beard and the hat and the gun. I mean, so what? It's not. I never like. We can project so much onto what is going on in the minds of everyone in our business, and yet it's all bull. I mean, we don't know what's going on. I just take what's in front of me and do the best I can. And this came onto my desk. It was a great script, a great role, and yeah, I get to do something that's good for the Jews. I was in a movie called Defiance, where I got to play the intellectual in the community of partisans who lived in the forests of Belarus and survived the Holocaust by living for 2.5 years in the forest, building a school, building places to live, shelter, and a kitchen, and making food, stealing milk from locals in the area and bringing it back to their little camp in the forest. That's about bad Jews. One played by Daniel Craig, one by Liev Schreiber, one by Jamie Bell. And here's another story about a bad Jew. I'm proud to play the role of Rabbi Mo.
It's awesome. So I know that, when we've spoken in the past, you grew up with a little more of a traditional background. You grew up going to a modern Orthodox shul in New York City. Did any of the rabbis that you've come in contact with, or Chabad rabbis you've met along the way, help inform what this character looked like?
Yeah, I'm not just what he looked like, but the
I'm saying,
character and the portrayal as a whole was informed by me. I met with a guy from the Pasadena Chabad named Zushi Rifkin, great rabbi, great guy. I'm also close with my rabbi here in LA, Sharon Brous. I'm close with my brother's rabbi in New York, Elliot Cosgrove. My rabbis growing up, Rabbi Schneier, Rabbi Einsiedler. So I have my fill of rabbis to choose from for inspiration. In addition, I read the book by Joseph Telushkin about the Rebbe,
mhm.
and I found it fascinating to hear what a fascinating guy, what a great man, what a big heart, what a big mind, and what a great PR agent he was for the Lubavitcher community and Hasidism as a whole. Just brilliant. I mean, the way he introduced dining halls on college campuses, because he thought, well, if my Jewish boys and girls are going to go eat in a mixed dining hall, they're just going to stop being kosher and intermarry. So let's keep them together, keep them kosher, keep them so that they can meet each other. And it was, brilliant, in addition to so many other great stories of him as a leader. And then I learned these nigunim. Like, I didn't even know, I didn't go to like Jewish camp growing up. I certainly was bar mitzvahed and all of that, but I didn't know Kol Ha'olam Kulo, which I'm singing with my family in a very scary moment in the movie, which is such a beautiful song. So to get to learn that and sing it with the family, and then on top of all the Jewish stuff was learning how to shoot a gun, which I was not familiar with. Like, there I am with Alona Tal, who has been in the IDF, and she's got to pretend to not know what she's doing. And there I am with no acting required, because I am learning in real time how to shoot a gun while my character is learning how to shoot a gun. But there's a guy named Yossi who founded Maganam, a security a volunteer organization here in LA, and they serve synagogues in LA, all over California, all over America. And Yossi taught me how to shoot a gun. Sal was incredibly helpful, because Sal is a part of Maganam. And we went to some shooting range in like Santa Clarita and practiced. And I worked pretty hard on it. And when we were filming like the montage where it's in slow-mo and my long black coat is flying behind me and I'm shooting the gun at the target, After a few takes, Sal, trying to coach me on getting, like, you pull the trigger, then you feel the wall, then you let it surprise you, and then you got to get your finger back up. All these little details that make it look authentic. And that was very important to Sal. And after a few takes, he felt like, we got it.
That was an awesome sequence. It happens to be that my husband and I went shooting yesterday before we saw the
No
screener. So
way.
it was very, look, I never thought that we would get guns. And literally the week of October 7th, I was like, maybe we should get ready. Maybe we should learn how to defend ourselves. And we're kind of simultaneously building a house in Israel and working on shooting. And so, yeah, we were at the range, and it feels good to have a proactive response to this increasing Jew hatred and seeing Jews get gunned down and seeing Jews get attacked and feeling like we're doing something responsible. And I have to say, there's like, Jews, we kind of get like pigeonholed into certain characters. Like the Israeli Jew is the bloodthirsty child killer. So that Jew fights back too much. The Holocaust Jew is the one that went to what do they say, like sheep to the slaughter. So
Right.
your movie Defiance turns that stereotype on its head, showing the fighting Jews. But Jews that we don't see fighting generally are the Orthodox Hasidic Jews. How much footage have we seen over the last several years of Hasidic Jews in the New York area mostly getting attacked, getting their hats knocked off, getting punched, getting pummeled, and they're not the Jews fighting. So I have to say, there was something so empowering about seeing you in that garb. You almost look like a cowboy with that sort of long coat and like the
That's
hat,
what
and then
that's what Sal was going for. Actually, the title is a little funny, which Sal was a little concerned about because it's not a comedy. It's
yeah.
definitely a thriller and a drama. But at one point, it was called The Man in the Long Black Coat. It was more of a Western. But at the end of the day, Guns N' Moses is just so good. He couldn't
Hmm.
avoid it. But I want to just address what you were just saying, because the inspiration for the movie was the shooting in Poway, California.
Hmm.
Um, Sal, just so we remember what happened. A shooter came into that synagogue and killed one woman, but before he could kill anybody else, Rabbi Goldstein of that synagogue rushed the shooter and got one of his fingers shot off, but stopped him from killing anywhere from 15 to 20 people in the congregation. And the reason he was so effective was because he didn't take time to think. And they're taught in the Orthodox community, this is sort of a virtue, a mission. Part of their mission statement is to act, not to wait, not to think, but to act quickly. And he did. And then when he was interviewed by the press, his message to the world was, you don't have to send our synagogue money. We're going to take care of ourselves, but do a mitzvah. Go do a good deed wherever you are, just to spread love and not make it about his congregation and the victimization. And there's a great line in the movie where my character quotes Rabbi Hillel and says, in a place where there is no man, be the man or the woman, which is why you and your husband are learning how to shoot a gun, which is why our community, has had to wake up, because we can't rely on anybody else, though there are allies, many allies out there for whom we're very grateful, like the Christian community, like Neil McDonough, who lends his entire following in the Christian community to this movie because it's about faith, and that's
Yeah.
incredibly important to him. But we can't count on anyone. And
Hmm.
therefore, my character learns how to protect his wife, his children, his community by learning how to shoot a gun and by rooting out the real evildoers in the community,
Hmm.
not the easy choice, which is the neo Nazi. And I don't know if you remember the scene between him and Christopher Lloyd, but that was a really important scene for me and for the movie because it's about the human connection. And this kid is just sitting there in his car, blaring his music, denying the Holocaust. And I go over to him and I say, okay, tough guy, if you're so convinced and you're so right, how about you come over here and let me introduce you to somebody? And then I introduce him to Christopher Lloyd, who plays this wonderful character of a survivor and explains to him that his whole family was killed in the Holocaust. And it's only because my character, Rabbi Mo, sees this kid take it in, the human to human connection, not siloed in our echo chambers spewing hate, but just a boy and a man. And this guy, I'm looking at him and I see, and he takes the brownie and he eats it. And I know it's because he took the brownie, because he took in this
Message.
history about the Holocaust, that maybe he didn't commit this crime.
My husband, who is the bigger crier in the relationship of the two of us, actually just like broke down crying during that scene with,
No way.
yeah, Christopher Lloyd, talking about his family dying. I'll tell you, shooting in the morning and then sort of seeing the shooting in the film and then hearing this, really very poignant and realistic moment from the Holocaust that this well-known character that we grew up with from Back to the Future gives over. Emotions are so raw right now, and the movie was done so well. And there were so many moments that we just felt so touched and so authentic and so proud. It was so proud to see a hero wearing that very Jewish garb. I commented recently, Gwyneth Paltrow and Chloe Fineman did one of those like car interviews recently, and they were talking about their Jewish fathers and their waspy mothers, and they both, thank God, have such pride on their Jewish side. And Chloe says, "My father used to say, think Yiddish, dress British." And Gwyneth says, "Oh, I love that. That's adorable." And they're enjoying their Jewish side. And I thought, what does this mean? Think Yiddish means retain the Jewishness on the inside, but dress British means erase yourself on the outside. And so I commented in the comments, "I love your Jewish pride. It's so beautiful. But I want to suggest to you that this is kind of an outdated way of thinking about Jewish identity. Everybody used to hide who they were. And we got to this age now of leaning in, being out, being proud. And so the updated version of this should be think Yiddish, dress Yiddish. And if that makes you feel weird or uncomfortable, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why it still feels weird to put ourselves out there in such a Jewish way. Look, my husband does not wear a yarmulke to work. He, has concerns about how will people see him, a judge, a jury, a client. Now his name is very Jewish. I'm like, it's not like you're fooling anyone, same like you said. And yet there's that fear. And I think this fear is an old fear. It's like intergenerational of how will they see me? How will they react? And now there's this growing danger. Mark, it is so huge what you did to take your recognizable face and your name, and this beloved following that you had for years through Royal Pain, and be brave enough to go out there and wear such Jewishness with pride and be that hero that we never get. And I really think that this could change how Hollywood runs. It could change what people feel about their own identity at home, because it's not like we're expecting everybody to go out to become Chabad and wear kapates and don big beards. It's that permission. It's that permission that this is okay, that a guy like this can be lovable and endearing and charming and wise, and a hero. And it's I'm just so moved by this, and I'm so proud of you. I don't know how else to say it. I'm so glad that you saw this as an opportunity and didn't get afraid of what will my next role be if I'm on a billboard looking so Jewish. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
Well, look, Allison, now I can play Moyles and Cantor. So, it's really expanding my versatility as an actor.
What is your hope, besides being entertained? Because obviously every artist, wants to just be great at their craft and tell, a compelling story. But this movie has more of a mission to you, I understand. So what is your hope that this might do to the viewers, or maybe even some of those executives or other actors that have been more quiet in this moment?
I mean, I don't, it's hard to say. I haven't really thought about the wider impact other than telling a great story and being a proud, badass Jew. I mean, I just love that I get to drive a minivan with my wife Hindi, and then we're like rock stars in our little high desert community who are fighting back. I think it's so cool and fun. But in terms of identifying yourself up there on the big screen and feeling proud about what you're seeing and not, like, I mean, David Krumholtz, funny in the studio, but still gives you that moment, or nobody wants this. There's moments of like, oh, and yet, it's not like the farthest stereotype in the world. We've all met. I've had trouble getting out of synagogue because five yentas are coming up to talk to me. I get it. But for a young Jewish boy or girl to see like a family that's tough and together and loving and also strong, that's beautiful. And if it leads to more of that, more stories like this, more Jewish stories where the Jewish part is normalized and the story can be about something like a murder mystery, then awesome. Love
Mhm.
it, you know? And uh, stereotypes be damned. Like, this is not a movie anybody's ever seen where you're a gun-toting Hasidic,
Rabbi.
Orthodox rabbi.
Amazing. Any upcoming projects like in the Jewish genre or anything to kind of leave us with? Yeah.
Well, Royal Pains was a great gift in my career, and we are currently in the works on a reboot, which I have read a draft, and I know it's, at the executive level, and there are yellow lights flashing, but that hopefully become green. That would be awesome, and that is certainly I mean, I wouldn't say we were Guns N' Moses level proud Jews, but we were Jews, and we wore
Yeah.
yarmulkes at the cemetery when we were honoring our mother who had passed in a scene in season 2. And we had, even in episode 2, we had a bark mitzvah. Ms. Newberg, I performed a tracheotomy on a dog, which was a great honor. Um, I am developing a show that is sort of like loosely Jewish, I would say. Um, there's a show I'm on called Nemesis, which is certainly not a Jewish project. It is a mostly black cast, but I get to play a kick defense attorney. Again, not such a stretch, but a good guy. And so, constantly developing and going up for characters who are Jewish. And I'll certainly keep you in the loop as they become more, concrete.
I would love that. My final closing thoughts are, it always scares me if like the entire thing is Jewish because it's like often the Jews, someone has to be the bad guy. And what I like about this is that the characters are complicated and you certainly meet real people that have shortcomings as all people do, but they all come across as human. But what I think is such an easy lift, should be an easy lift, is getting that character or that storyline into a larger show where they're taking a beat and they're having a beautiful Shabbat dinner, or they're lighting a Hanukkah menorah. They're sort of taking pleasure in their Jewishness, and it can it doesn't need to be like the whole story. It can just be a moment. And I see other groups inserting a little bit of propaganda for the pride of their community, and I feel like it is time for us to do that too. So that's my message. If there are ways for you to suggest a moment to just have some pride, one of our winners of our media awards last year, and we're looking at this for the third Jewish Media Awards. Mark, one of our winners on the page, starring Steve Carell, they just had this beautiful Shabbat dinner, and people were smiling, and the candles were glowing, and there was casual, like authentic banter before they started to say grace after meals, and it was like, yeah, this is real, and they're happy being Jewish. So if I can leave you with that as sort of your next thing, find those moments if you can get them into your future storylines. Just happy Jews enjoying, taking pleasure in being Jewish. Enough of the shame and the jokes. We can stand as proud Jews and we can be heroes now, Mark. So thank you so much.
Amen, Allison. And just on the heels of that, let me say there aren't that many moments. You hear about the black community rallying around a movie, like they've got to come out for this particular movie, whatever it is, or any other community. This is an example of a moment when it'd be great if the Jews came out and supported Guns N' Moses, because it's a real fledgling indie venture. It's not gonna fly if people don't show up at the theater. It comes out July 18th in theaters in 27 cities across this country,
Amazing.
500 theaters, according to our director, Sal Litvak. And so, show up, get
Show
out
up,
there. I mean, I know
get
it's
out there.
Shabbat on Friday night, but Saturday night, bring The whole crew.
Bring the mishpacha. Okay, thank you so much, Mark. Go out and see Guns and Moses. You will enjoy it and you will feel proud. Thanks so much for joining us. Lovely talking.
Thanks, Allison.
And you can catch us same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.